Okay, hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to Easy Markets Daily Pitch International with me, Darius. Today's the 4th of September, 2023. So, welcome, everyone. Welcome to this Monday's morning session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendations and should not be considered as such. This material should not be taken as an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. Look, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest. I'll disappear from that little left corner in there and I'll be back in a bit. Okay, so now then, also just before we go further, as always, just a quick mentioning of our Easy Markets website, which you can always check out for more information about us. So feel free to visit us here at easymarkets.com. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. Now then, jumping into the charts, guys. So first of all, of course, as always, I want to look at the Nikkei 225 just to see how everything's kind of playing out here. Last Friday, I mean, the markets closed kind of in the US, they closed kind of mixed a little bit. Some were in positive territory, some were in negative still. So, yeah. And today we're seeing kind of a Nikkei here, we're seeing a continuation move to the upside. Maybe the positivity is kicking in here because of the bad numbers from the US, but I'll get to that point in a bit, or yeah, relatively bad. For now, the technical picture, look, it stays the same for me. I said it before and I'll say it again. Yes, I'm still aiming for this downside line. And yes, then the question is, will it provide us a good resistance, or actually will it fail and break and the bulls will drag this one further north? Well, at this point, guys, I think that it's better to, at this point, if let's say you've missed the move here to the upside, I would say take a pause, keep your eyes on it, and then maybe let's decide what it's going to do. If it's going to break this one, great, okay, we could go higher, and especially if we break and stay, the body of the daily candle stays above that downside line. If we stay below this downside line, then yes, another decline here could be possible. So yes, that's the situation here for now. So just bear with me one moment. I need to do something very quickly. I think, yes. Just a second. Something that I need to do very quickly, guys. So apologies for that. Just a sec. I think that there is a chat that I need to kind of, participate in. So, yeah, something that we're trying to do every morning or here right now. So, yes, let's see how that works. So now then, okay, continuing. So yeah, like I said, the situation with Nikkei is this, basically, that at the moment we got already closer to this territory, so everything kind of worked out nicely. I mentioned this before. I said to you that if we do pop and stay above this 50-day EMA, then yes, my next target is this downside line. Well, we came already very close to it, so the question is, will it go further above that downside line or not? So for now, I'm taking a little bit of a pause, and I want to see if this is going to retrace back to the downside here. China 50 index. So beautiful push here above this 12,879 territory. This is what I've mentioned last week. I said to you that in order for me to go higher a little bit, I need to see a nice good push above this barrier, above this 12,879 zone, and then I'll aim for that 200-day EMA, which is already kind of, let's say, reached. But if that gets cleared, my next target is the 13,114 area, approximately around here. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not the I'm not saying that this is the level that's going to get reached for sure, but just a good potential target. For now, we are, like I said, we're breaking this barrier. Let's see if we can stay above this territory and not create something like a false breakout where it's going to just do this and drift back to the downside. So For now, like I said, the 200-day EMA could be a nice, good target, and it's already proving to be one. But if that gets cleared, well, guess what? I mean, like I said, slightly higher levels could be met. Now, in terms of the downside on this one, look, I'm taking a bit of a conservative approach here. I'm kind of getting more comfortable with the downside from this territory, from this 12,556. But I get it. You know what? Maybe we could start looking at lower levels a little bit earlier, maybe from somewhere around here, maybe not exactly this level, but just basically that 50-day EMA here shown as the red line, and this 12,727 territory. But look, I mean, I get it. It's maybe not the most exciting one because it did act as a good area of resistance previously. I mean, I was hoping to see maybe a more respect to that line here, but it kind of ignored it. So maybe, look, I'm not going to get rid of it yet. I want to see, you know, if it's going to carry any significance later on, if we do reverse back down. But I think that what you can do here in terms of the downside from the short-term perspective, then let's say instead of looking at this 12,556 territory, you could already start looking at some lower levels if we break this steep upside line here. And maybe, like I said, this could work out perfectly with the 50-day EMA. And then if we do drop below the 50-day EMA, then we will be kind of below all the EMAs on my daily chart here. And then this could be seen as a slightly bearish indication. Now, ASX 200, beautiful move, fantastic. Look, I've mentioned this last week, if you remember. I said to you that if you want to go further north, then certainly, yes, a break of this downside line is required. And then we could target that 7,333 territory, and then we'll just take it from there, you know, because I don't want to rush into anything. I just want to keep it short and simple for now. If we do clear that 7,333, fantastic. We could go further north, but at this point, let's keep it at a very kind of, you know, short-term kind of basis, you know. Oh, Captain BK8, do EURUSD. You mean talk about EURUSD? Okay, look, EURUSD. This is the list that I have here that I need to go through. So first I go through indices, then I go through commodities, then cryptos, and then I jump into forex. So EURUSD is here in the list at the end. So be a little bit patient, and I'll be with that one with you. But like I said, yeah, I need to go through this list first. So the ASX 200, yeah, like I said, that's the situation here. We broke the downside line, so this kind of increases the chances for a further move north. But as I said, I'm only aiming for something around here first, and then I'll take it from there. In terms of the downside, I think that the better option right now is to monitor this little hurdle here, the low of the 1st of September, or should I say, the current lowest point of September. So if we do drop back below it, we could drop back below this downside line, and then potentially, yes, lower levels could be met. But the problem here is that we do have these EMAs, and on my daily chart here, so one of them could initially provide support. So let's say if we do fall back below this downside line, the flatter one, and then we drop below that 7,227 territory right here, create a new low for September, and then yes, I mean, everybody would be, let's say, you know, jumping into those sell positions, and but again, there could be a bit of a problem around here near these EMAs. So that's why I would say, you know, just be a little bit more on the careful side here with this one. And then, yes, we could, if we do clear the EMAs, congratulations, we could go a little bit lower. Now, the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So, last week, okay, today, first of all, today we have the US and Canada closed due to their Labor Day celebrations. So, don't expect much excitement, maybe much volatility in the market. But we do have Europe working, so yes, you can keep an eye on those. But yes, like I said, tomorrow probably there will be more activity. But today, in general, yes, it's a bit of a quiet day, I would say. In terms of economic data, not much is happening. So yes, everything will probably start a little bit on Tuesday. But even then, This week, we don't have much, let's say, data from the US, of just a few sets here and there, like the usual initial jobless claims coming out on Thursday. Then we do have the, let me just double check something, imports, exports, trade balance, the US imports, exports, and trade balance that's coming out on Tuesday. But of course, the main focus will be on the ISM non-manufacturing PMI numbers. So something that could drive the market. So if you're hoping to see some sort of action, probably it will, kick off from Wednesday, and then we could get something out of this. But at this point, look, jumping into the technical picture of the Dow Jones Industrial Average here. So I'm looking at the futures here. So Echo 3 Charlie, you may want to look at NZDCHF. I already have it on my list there. I already have it on my list, so I'm going to pick up on that one. So this is the list that I'm going through in this webinar. So the Dow Jones Industrial Average, looking at the picture here, look, we had a fantastic hold up near this downside line, this steeper one. And look, I have these two, but both of them are tentative, right? I mean, I'm not really putting too much emphasis on them. However, I can see that this one somehow is doing a good job. This one's drawn from the high of the 27th of July, and it's not, let's say, picture perfect, I would say, but still a relatively good line. But look, it's doing a good job right now for now, and yes, we are getting a hold up. So what am I seeing here right now? So we had a bit of a decline here, a correction lower. We drifted to the downside. Last week I've mentioned this. I said to you that if we do get a hold up below this downside line, then expect a little correction, maybe towards that 50-day EMA. Boom. Fantastic. Now what's next? Well, look, I'm gonna simplify my life here and just do it this way. If we do fall below the 34,807 zone, or 800 level in general, and we do fall below that 50-day EMA, then that's where, yes, from where I'm gonna consider a bit of a move to the downside here. And yes, then I'll aim for the 100-day EMA, or maybe this this upside line drawn from the low of the 15th of March. And then we'll just kind of take it from there. Look, from the shorter term perspective as well, maybe some of you might say that, hey, this little formation here is kind of something like a bearish flag, but either way, if it is a bearish flag, if it's not a bearish flag, still, if you're aiming for slightly lower levels, then yes, like I said, a breakthrough through this is needed, and then we'll kind of take it from there. So for the upside, yes, pretty straightforward. A break of this downside line is required, and I'm not saying that we're going to fly high from here. No, we do have another little barrier, little obstacle on the way higher, is this downside line, which is also a little bit on the tentative side. So yep, this one's drawn from the high of the 1st of August of this year, and then yeah, we'll take it from there. Jean 920, what is that? Popcorn? Fire and popcorn. Okay. Please explain. What do you mean by that? Please explain. So yeah, thank you. But anyway, coming back to this, so that's the situation here. Look, as I said today, don't expect much. It's a little bit on the quiet side. But again, these are the futures. We could see them. We'll see them moving. This chart, we'll see. Yeah, it will be moving, but mainly because of Europe and yes, Asia tomorrow. I'm sharing. You're sharing. You're sharing. Okay, Echo 3 Charlie. You're sharing popcorn as well. Okay. Okay. Well, enjoy the show in that case. But anyway, S&P 500. Looking at the picture here, beautiful technical situation, I in my opinion, because look, we do have this barrier. I talked about this one. We have this barrier right here, this 4,542, yes, approximately around there, and look, it is kind of doing a good job right now. Yes, we had a few overshoots here and there, but that's fine. But overall, it's doing a good job. So, long story short, as I mentioned last week, I'll stick to my game plan for this one. I know in order for me to go higher, I need to see another pop here above this above this barrier. And yes, of course, I would like to see the body of the daily candle staying above this area, and then I would aim a little bit higher, maybe towards this little territory around here, around these 4,622.34 levels, something like that, and then I'll take it from there. For the downside, maybe a drop below this 4,485 territory could do the trick, because at the same time, again, depending on, let's say, if we do drift lower here a little bit, depending on when that's going to happen, maybe this 50-day EMA will coincide nicely with this little hurdle, and this could make it a very attractive breakout area for the sellers for the near term, to drive this one a little bit lower in the near term, go for a little bit of a correction here to the downside. So, but again, that's just a little idea here. Again, at the moment, it seems like it wants to go a little bit higher, but it needs that pop above this barrier. Nasdaq 100. So again, similar story. Look, we broke this downside line. I've talked about this 15,610 zone. So yes, so far it's so good. It's doing a good job. I need to see that pop. The same story, basically. I need to see that pop in order to go higher. But at the moment, I'm not getting that, so I'm just observing the price action. For the downside, okay. Depending on how this is going to play out, of course. But if we take it just at this time, I would like to see a drop somewhere below this 15,361 zone right here. Look, maybe you're looking at this level already, maybe a little bit earlier. It's nice as well, this 15,432, but I just want to be a little bit more on the careful side. And like I said, if we do fall back below this downside line, then yes, I will get more excited with maybe a bit of a larger correction to the downside. Because again, the reason why I'm saying correction, because we are still above this upside line. So in a way, any throwback here could be classed as a temporary correction before another possible leg of buying. But again, at the moment, we are a little bit more on the buy side. But again, a confirmation break is needed. If I don't get that, I'm just watching that one. The German index, DAX. So, okay, one of my favorite ones, yes. Look, I do have a lot happening here on this chart, but you know what? There's this kind of messiness, which I really like so far because it's kind of working out. So far, for example, this 15,878 territory is working out. So I talked about this as well previously. And look, after we rebounded from this highlighted zone, the big one, the bigger one here on the bottom, we drifted higher. Then I said to you, look, if we do climb back above this 15,878 territory, I'm aiming higher, and I got that. We aim very close to testing this territory, but okay, that's fine. Maybe not an ideal test, but that's still okay-ish. What's next? Well, to be a little bit more conservative, I would wait for a push above this territory, above that, maybe that 16,100 territory, somewhere like there. And then, yes, examine higher levels. But at the moment, yes, we're near this 15,878. So look, I'm not saying that, you know, we're currently resting on it, and we're resting actually also on that 100-day EMA right here, as you can see. Well, or maybe you don't see it here. It's this green line that I have, and as I talked about this last week, I said to you that this is a good potential area of support because it's nicely coinciding with my hurdle here as well. And as you can see, so far, we are getting a nice little rebound. So, look, as long as we stay above it, then yes, there is a chance for this to move back to the upside. Hey, maybe some of you are also saying, hey, Darius, maybe this is a nice inverted head and shoulders pattern. Hey, I'll say maybe that's correct. You know, maybe you're right. But if that's the case, then we need to wait for the break of the neckline, which is around here. So if we get that, okay, wonderful. Potentially more buyers could join in. But at this point, look, if you are a range trader, maybe you would like this. Maybe, you know, it's something up your street. But for me at the moment, I don't really like it. I want to see this one either breaking back below this 15,878 or actually pushing above that 16,100 zone, and then kind of, you know, we could go from there. But at this point, it might actually start oscillating around this 50-day EMA as it like did at the end of last week. So, you know, don't rush into anything. If it's like, let's say, if it's not ticking all your boxes, don't, try to stay away from it, because look, this is what I do. I mean, I wait for the perfect opportunity and then I do something about it, because there is so much temptation, and I get it, and you really want to jump in. Maybe you're thinking, especially when let's say you didn't jump in and then it's like went your way, and like you're thinking, oh man, like I should have, could have, would have, right? No, you're wrong, because either you risk very small amounts and risk only what you can afford to lose, or wait until you get all your boxes ticked and then you do something about it. FTSE 100. Okay, so this one's doing something nice. It's breaking this downside line. I talked about it. So yes, and we're getting a hold up near that 7,520 territory. I spoke about this barrier. I said to you that, look, if we do break above this downside line, we could also break above the 50-day EMA. We could stay above it. Yes, that's one step. Wonderful. Now what's next? The next thing is to keep an eye on this 7,520 territory. If that gets cleared, a forthcoming higher high will be confirmed, and potentially more buyers could join in. We could target that 100 and the 200-day EMAs, and then we could aim for that 7,611 zone, and then we will go from there. I don't want to try to forecast, big levels. No, that's not in. I guess I don't have a crystal ball. Only a leather one right here. So, I try to rub it as much as I can. Probably that's why I got bold. But anyway, look, for this one right now, like I said, just let's go slowly, carefully. Like if we do pop above that 7,520 territory, my next target is the 100 and the 200-day EMAs here, which are around that 7,545 level. And then I'll take it from there. If we clear that, great, I'll go further north. For the downside, well, this is probably a similar thing that I'm going to do with this one as I did with, can't remember, which one was it? Oh, anyway, it doesn't matter. But basically, I'm going to mark this, the low of the 31st of August, near the 7,434, something like that, approximately around there. If we clear that one, then yes, I'll go a little bit to the downside. Simple as that. US dollar. So, okay, US dollar got a nice pop here on Friday. Okay, now what did we get on Friday? NFPs. We had the job numbers from the US, and if you remember, if you watched my videos on Thursday and Friday, I was talking about the NFPs, and actually in general last week, if you watched it, you'll remember that I said that look, the interesting bit is going to be that. If the NFP comes out below 200, because I mean that would be for the third month in a row. What it did, it managed to beat the forecast. Everybody's like, "Hey, great, happy," but actually, it didn't manage to go above 200. And also, let me just refresh my memory. The employment rate, yep, came from 3.5 to 3.8. Another bad thing. So yes, and non-farm payrolls came out better than the forecast, but look, the previous number got adjusted. It got adjusted to 155K, so much lower than before that. So where is that? Let me just quickly look at the. So yes, it was the previous one was at 172. So basically, the forecast was for 150K. Was it? Yeah, 150K. The forecast was. It managed to beat the forecast. Came out higher. Everybody's happy, but then they readjust the previous number, and it's lower to the lower side. So basically, look, what I said to you, that it's for the third month in a row that it's below 200, and that's a problem. So last year, the same time, we were like around 300. So there is a decline, and since what? Since July 2020, we have been on a gradual decline. Yes, with a few ups and downs, but in general, if you would apply technical analysis on that chart, you could see that there is a nice, beautiful decline, and basically forming a descending triangle if we apply technical analysis on that chart, But no, we cannot really. But look, I mean, anything can change. But in general, we have been on decline, so that's not good. So yes, we saw some positivity here kicking in. But will it be sustained in the dollar, here? That's the good question, because okay, this puts the Fed into that position, or it puts the Fed that, maybe no rates should be needed at any time soon, because look, we already have the CME tool here, the Fed Watch tool sitting at 93%. So they're basically on the 20th of September, when the interest rate decision will happen from the Fed, then yes, I mean, everybody's already hoping that there is not going to be any increase. Again, we'll wait and see. Surprises might happen, but most of the time they stick to what they forecast and what they say. And yes, at the moment that's the game in a way. So basically, no rate hikes could happen. This, of course, would not be a positive for the US dollar. So that's where, the decline could come later on, maybe. But yes, at the moment, we'll just have to wait and see what's going to happen here. I really want to draw this one not like as a downside line, but actually as a range, something like this here. But again, for now, I can see that this downside line is doing a good job. So as long as we remain below it, I'll continue targeting the downside. And if we do pop above this downside line, then great. I will aim a little bit to the upside here. Not much. Initially aiming for these levels here. These are my little obstacles on the way higher, especially the last one, the highest point of May of this year, near the 104.61. And then we'll take it from there. It's not the highest point of this year. The highest point of this year is around here, near the 105.87. And then, yes, we'll see what happens after. But let me just grab a line. But yeah, like I said, the numbers from the US last week on Friday, they were not the best ones. And that's why, we could maybe see some pressure on the negative pressure on the dollar later on, because if there won't be any Fed rate hikes. However, not the case for the stock market. The stock market could continue rallying, but again, in general, I don't see what's the reason for that rally. But it's only my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but really, I don't see any logic in general. But look, if that's the case, then I'm not trying to be very pessimistic, don't get me wrong, but like the higher we fly, then the harder we fall. But we'll see. Let's not rush into this. Let's jump into gold, rather. Gold is beautiful, and physical, and on the chart as well. So look, we have a nice rejection here. I talked about this last week. I said to you that if we continue to trade above the crossroads here of these two trend lines, then yes, there is a chance for this one to move higher. But my high will be around here, near this downside line drawn from the high of the 19th of July. And then we will go from there. So this is going to be Jean 920 waiting for the drop. Yeah, we're all waiting for that drop, right? But sometimes be careful what you wish for, because again, it's a stick with two ends, right? I mean, on one hand it's good, maybe you can capture a decline. On the other hand, maybe you can lose a job or something like that. So if the economy is doing bad. So that's why it's a little bit of a problem, I would say. So yeah, depending on which way, which way you go. But anyway, like I said, for gold right now, I'm still sticking to slightly the upside. I'm aiming for this downside line for now. The reason I'm not very, very, very bullish, because again, looking at silver, it's a different story, but I'll get to that in a bit. For me, the downside probably will come and on a break below this upside line and a fall below the EMAs. Initially below the 100-day EMA here shown as the green line, and then the red one, which is the 50-day EMA. This downside line can go and no longer needed, and like I said, that's my game plan for the downside. If we do clear this short-term tentative upside support line drawn from the low the 21st of August, then yes, I'll get a little bit more excited with the downside, and then I'll keep an eye on the EMAs, the 100 and the 50-day EMA. Silver, that's what I'm talking about here. This is looking a little bit more bearish. So that's why I'm not very, let's say, super positive on gold, because again, silver is doing a slightly different job. And look, it's doing my downside scenario, and it fell below that 24.36 territory. Okay, great. Now then, it's, what's next? Well, so far, to be honest, I'm still aiming for that 50-day EMA, and I have to stick to my game plan. And although I'm seeing discrepancies here in gold and silver, which is a little bit interesting, but yeah, silver is falling, and it's I'm kind of leaning, as long as it stays below the 24.36 territory, I'm leaning towards the 50-day EMA, and then I'll take it from there. Cotton, guys. One of those commodities that I look at, and look, I really like it, and I can see, and you can see why I like it, because I mean, I have been talking about this one since what, like since the beginning, from the beginning of summer, I think I was talking about this, and there we go. We're getting that exit here. We're getting that exit. We got that exit on the 1st of September. Sorry, back to 22. Jean, you mean like probably silver, you mean? Look, I mean, sorry, but I think that the comments sometimes are lagging a little bit, so I think that like it's processing a little bit. So you're probably referring to silver on the 22. Maybe, yeah, could be the case, could be interesting, but I'm not, like I said, I'm not rushing to that one. I'm just going slowly on this, and I want to see if this is going to work out or not. But cotton, I mean, boom, fantastic. Now, I'm still going to stick to my upside. And yes, I'm really gonna, yes, I'm not really gonna do much here apart from aiming to the upside, as long as we remain above the upper side of this range. If we somehow drift back down, and then we'll have a beautiful false breakout, and that means that we could maybe drift back to the downside again. But look, at this point, I'm leaning towards the upside as long as we stay above this territory. So I'm going to keep an eye on it today, or maybe not today, actually, maybe tomorrow more. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. Oil. Beautiful test of my territory, beautiful clearance of my territory here, this 84.90. I was very happy with that one, and I said to you that if we do pop and stay above this 81.74 territory, I am leaning towards the 84.90 tick. What's next? Well, next is this for me. If we continue to trade above this 84.90, I'm leaning towards the upside. Look, I get it. Some of you might say, but you know what? We had a bit of a move here, so maybe just it's time to maybe go for a bit of a correction, something like that. I will consider that if we do fall and stay below the 84.90. Then I'll consider a bit of a correction here to the downside. But at this point, yes, I'm leaning towards higher levels. I'm not really very bullish. No, I'm just going to slowly target some of the higher levels. Now, this 93.75 zone is quite attractive together with this one because, yes, it's, or in a way you could could say just the 93.70 territory, because it's, again, it's just in between these two levels. It's very tight here, but I would probably aim for the psychological 90 level first. 90.100, something like that could be the case, but yes, the psychological 90 level could be an interesting target. I'm gonna aim for that one as long as we stay for now above this 84.90 territory. If we do fall back below it, then yes, I'll consider a bit of a retracement to the downside. Bitcoin. So this one's still, yes, okay. It fell below that 25,810 zone, something like that. It stayed below it a little bit, but then, yeah, it failed to remain below it, drifted back up. I'm still gonna lean towards the downside, especially if we do fall again below this 25.800 zone, something like that. If we stay below it, then yes, I'm leaning towards the downside. For the upside, I need to see a push above the 200-day EMA here in order to go higher for a larger correction to the upside towards this downside resistance line drawn from the high of the 13th of July. I get it. It's a big territory to miss out on, But hey, you know what? I'd rather be safe than sorry. And I'm going to redraw this level here. Yes, the 26,970 territory. This could be that interesting target, or the 27,000 itself. Ethereum. Ethereum is near a good area of support here, 1626. Good possible target for a breakout. So if we do get that breakout here, then yes, again, the same game plan as with the previous one, and then I'll aim a little bit lower here. For the upside, I'll take a very conservative approach and wait for a break of this downside line right there. Litecoin, just a quick update. Still, we're here. This one's a little bit on the positive side because we're still holding. We're still holding above this upside line. So yes, if we do continue to trade above it, then there is, yes, a chance for this one to rebound and push back up. But if we start clearing this upside line and we fall below the 60.23 territory, a forthcoming lower low will be confirmed. AUDUSD. So this one, I'm still liking this level here. Honestly, the 0.6488. I kept on talking about it for the whole of last week. Sorry, I had to warm up my throat a little bit. So yes, look, if you want to go higher. Oh, Daredevil Dave, good morning to you too. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Hope you're feeling nice and fresh for for this week. But I hope everybody else who's tuning in right now had a beautiful weekend, guys. Honestly, I hope you managed to relax at least somehow, and yes, you're ready for this relatively quiet week, I would say, in the market. But hey, I think we can squeeze something out of it. Anyway, so yes, with AUDUSD, this is the barrier that I'm keeping an eye on, the 0.6488. Some still need to see a pop above it in order to go higher. For the downside, a break of this upside line is required in order to go a little bit lower. That's it. The same analysis. Honestly, I'm not changing it. For now, I'm just monitoring that. AUDJPY. So, okay, there we go. Beautiful retracement, rebound from this downside line. Look, I talked about this last week, and I said to you that in general, I keep on talking and I keep on saying the same thing over and over. Whenever we break a trend line, we tend to retest it from the other side. So this is exactly what happened. We got that retest, and now we're aiming a little bit back to the upside. So it's going towards that 94.90 zone. Let's see if we can clear it. Now, if we can clear it, then yes, I will go towards that 95.86 zone, and then we'll take it from there. So yes, that's my game plan for now. That's the situation here. So let's see what's what can we do with this barrier. But in general, at the moment, yes, I'm leaning a little bit more towards the upside because first of all, we're above all of my EMAs on my daily chart, so we're above this 50-day EMA as well. So yes, there's a greater chance for this one to go higher. But initially, I'm targeting this 94.90. If that gets clear, then that's where I'm gonna get a little bit even more comfortable with this. A little bit more. A little bit more comfortable. Yes, there we go. Interpret it as you want. 95.86, that's my next target, and then we'll see. For the downside, well, this is where the tricky bit comes in. I would actually prefer to wait for a drop below this upside line, and then, yep, maybe, I get it. It's a lot of territory to miss out on, but this could be a bit of a nightmare here. It could be like some oscillation around these EMIs. So that's why I need something a little bit more reassuring. But probably the more reassuring option for me is the 93 zone. If we do drop below it, at the same time, we would fall below the 200-day EMA and potentially attract more sellers into the game. NZDJPY, similar, well, not similar actually. A little bit different because look, with NZD, by the way, I think we do have some data coming out from Australia for sure. I've looked at that one. GDP numbers, yeah, there we go. Wednesday, guys, for these two pairs and the ASX 200. Keep an eye on the GDP numbers. So that's coming out on Wednesday, early hours of the Wednesday morning. Yes, so in terms of NZD, tomorrow we have the Australian retail sales as well, something to keep in mind. So maybe actually Australia, New Zealand, and Canada could be those that could drive the market this week. But let's see. China also is providing good data. We have the Tizen Services PMI. Yep, coming out on Tuesday. So let's wait and see. Anyway, let's like I said, coming back to NZDJPY. Let me just quickly double check manufacturing sales volume on Thursday coming out from New Zealand, but kind of that's it, to be honest. Not much. Yes. So there's some Japanese data that's coming out. So yes, on Friday we'll get the Japan's GDP numbers. So something to keep in mind. So maybe this pair is waiting for Friday. Let's wait and see. But in general, it's coiling up nicely here. So the more it's coiling up, the better, because then a beautiful breakout could occur. So at the moment, I'm waiting for a clearance of one of these trend lines in order to consider the next short-term directional move. NZDCHF, so beautiful move here. In general, yes, broke the downside line, pushed higher, and now we're near this key resistance barrier, near this 0.53 territory. So in order for me to go higher, I need to see a push above this hurdle. If I don't get that, nope, I'm not really getting comfortable with the upside, because look, in general, we are bearish because we are below all these EMAs. Yes, we broke the steeper downside line, but we're still below this downside line. So this other one, the flatter one, and we're still below all the EMAs. So in general, there could be some, moves to the downside. However, I would prefer to wait for a drop below the 0.5190 territory here in order to go lower, because look, this would confirm a forthcoming lower low, potentially could attract more sellers into the game. But look, if you're impatient, you could already start looking at this upside line here drawn from the low the 21st of August, but just don't be surprised. For example, if we do break this upside line, we drift lower, we've found support somewhere around here, and then reverse and back to the upside. But you can start looking at some lower levels from around here, and then maybe you could like add to your position. But again, look, risk only what you can afford to lose, guys, because again, if this breaks this upside line and then reverses back up, so you might lose out. So just I would say wait for a breakout, and again, this situation is still a little bit tricky. So you know what, you can listen to me, but still have your own head on your shoulders, and don't just follow me blindly, because look, I am wrong, I am wrong too. So everybody's wrong. Nobody, like I said, unfortunately, not a lot of us can see the future. Somebody might, some can. I'm not one of those who can foresee the future. I'm trying to just apply some sort of logic and sense, and in order to find some sort of explanation to why I think this way and that way. Florence Okeva, good morning to you too. I can see you there in the chat room. So yeah, thank you very much for tuning in. So jumping into USDJPY. So this one is an interesting one. So of course, Friday's NFP did give a bit of a roller coaster ride here for this pair, but we did drop below this territory, but we failed to stay below this highlighted zone. So I talked about this and I said to you that 145, that's what I'm keeping an eye on. And we did get a brief visit below it, and then we drifted back up. So my question now is, can we pop higher? But for that, I need to see a push up of the 146.56 territory, the same level. Still valid for me, so I need to see that great nice move here above this. And not only that, I need to see the body of the daily candle staying above that area, because I don't want to get another false breakout as we got here. It was nice, great, but then by the end of the day, so yeah, and then it kind of drifted back to the downside. So that's why at this point I'm just observing the price action. Maybe it's ranging here a little bit, so let's give it some time, and then we could take it from there. Captain BK8, 0.58 break below that would possibly be a confirmation break on NZDCHF. Just quickly jump back into it. 0.5250, 0.52, something around here. No, well, okay, look, it depends on how you analyze it, right? I mean, I analyze it this way. Like I said, I might be wrong. Maybe you see something else that I don't see. But for me, at this point, I'm assuming you're kind of referring to something around here, basically, something around these, maybe this territory. Basically, it's not 497. Look, it's roughly 500, like 52, 500. So it's not really like you don't. Try not to look at exact specific levels. I keep on saying in the show that try to look at the area. When you're targeting something, yes, you have yourself in mind a level, but keep an eye on the area around that level, because sometimes when you're targeting something, look, I mean, I was targeting this highlighted zone right here. It came very close to it, so it's in the area, but I still class it as a success. Okay, good result here. Now I need to see a break through this territory, through this area. Yes, I do mention the level as well, just for the simplicity, maybe just for that, like the ease of kind of understanding. But in general, it's mainly the area that we're always watching. So, but for me, this territory, look, yes, it could drift a little bit lower here, but I have this upside line, so I don't want to ignore it, and maybe it's going to provide support. So, but again, if you're a little bit more comfortable, let's say from this territory, okay, you can do that, but just don't be surprised. For example, if you do drop lower, go to the downside, test this upside line, rebound, and push back up. So, if again, it's everything is very subjective, not objective, but subjective. So if maybe you're right, maybe it could drift a little bit lower here, because but then again, it's like it might create a false breakout and drift back up. Maybe it's actually a bullish flag here, actually. Maybe it's it'll give you a tease, it'll drop here, and then the body of the daily candle will drive back up here. We'll stay above this hurdle, and then we'll see ourselves a nice little bullish flag here in the short term, and then we'll pop higher. So that's also a scenario, but that's why I'm trying not to overcomplicate life and just kind of sticking to these territories instead. So yeah, USDCHF, that's the situation here. I've already mentioned this. Yep, these two areas. USDCAD, of course. BOC today, this week. BOC, Bank of Canada, coming out this week, and yes, we do have an eventful moment in Canada, because we also will get the GDP numbers on Friday. Was it Friday? No, sorry, last week we got the GDP numbers. Sorry, from Canada on Friday. Let me just double check very, very quickly on Canada. We have the employment numbers. Sorry, the unemployment figures are coming out. So GDP figures were last week. This week it's the unemployment rate. So yeah, it's something to keep in mind, keep an eye on. And yes, of course, the BOC, the Bank of Canada, is coming out on Wednesday. Yep, on Wednesday. Is that correct? Just to double check. Yep, that's correct. So the current forecast is for 5%, right? As we know, Canada is also one of those central banks. Canadian Central Bank is also one of those banks which is sometimes does like to provide us with give us a surprise of some sort. So, for example, the 4.75, which we got in June. Yep, it came out June. The forecast was at 4.5. It came out 4.75. Boom. Last time it was in line with expectation, came out at 5, and this time it seems like there is a pause that the Bank of Canada wants to do. So they want to stick to that 5%. My question, will this be the case? Because look, their inflation rate, okay, it's going lower. That's fine. So everybody's now starting slowly to talk about deflation. And that's why maybe the central banks are a little bit on the pause right now. So again, we'll see. But look, for now, what we're saying here is we saw a strong dollar on Friday. Okay, that's the rebound we got here. We got the rebound from this territory. I spoke about this and I said to you that I need to see the body of the daily candle staying below this, below this 1.35 zone in order to go lower. Captain BK8, you're welcome. So what's the situation here right now? I'm liking this level, the 1.3575. I talked about this, and I said to you that if we do pop above it and stay above it, I'll lean a little bit more to the upside. For now, I'm doing that. I'm leaning towards the upside. For the downside, I need to see a drop below the 1.35 territory again in order to go lower. US dollar against the Swiss franc. So yes, we broke the downside line and we stayed above it. So that's why I'm leaning a little bit more towards the upside. I can see that the 100-day EMA is providing good resistance. That's fine, but I need that. Look, in general, I'm not excluding the possibility again of a retest of this downside line, maybe of this 50-day EMA as well, and then maybe if we get a hold up, maybe rebound and push back up. But if you're really, let's say, on the cautious side, keep your eyes on the 100-day EMA together with the 0.8876 territory right here. A nice good break above those levels would confirm a forthcoming higher high. But my downside scenario is from a drop after a drop below this 50-day EMA. So basically it's something like this. Certainly, don't get me wrong, I'll get more comfortable if we do fall below this territory right here. But look, I'll start looking at some lower levels from around here already. US dollar against the Mexican peso. Okay. Beautiful move. I talked about this on Friday. I said to you that as long as we stay above this 50-day EMA, my next target is the 100-day EMA together with the 17.21 zone right here. We came very close to it. So now my next question is, can we break this territory and go towards the upper side of the range? Because don't forget, we are in a range. And by the way, this 50-day EMA together with the 17 zone is kind of roughly around the midpoint of this range. So we crossed the midpoint, so now maybe we're heading towards the upper side, but let's wait and see. For now, that's the game plan that I'm gonna follow, and yes, I'm gonna aim again for the 100-day EMA, and if that gets cleared, the upper side of the range here could be possible. A test of it could be possible. GBPJPY. So similar. This highlighted zone, it's a little bit messy, don't get me wrong, but I spoke about this highlighted zone near the 184 zone. We're struggling to move below it. So yeah, we're somewhere around here. So I'm just watching this one. If we do fall again below the 184, I'll aim for the 183.25. But if that gets cleared, maybe we'll also get a nice good break below the 50-day EMA and potentially attract more sellers into the game. For the upside, I'm waiting for that push about 186.77 territory right here. You know what? I don't like anything else apart from this. Get that break, great, I'll go higher. GBPUSD, okay, this one's a little bit of a mess, and I think I need to remove all the drawings, start fresh, because when it stops working, honestly, and I do get that occasionally, so I just remove everything and start fresh. Maybe I'm not seeing something. So look, overall for now, judging on the location in relation to my EMAs, we're below the 50 and the 100, and we're kind of aiming for that 200-day EMA. So in other words, actually, as long as we stay below the 100-day EMA, then yes, I will aim for that 200-day EMA. That's my game plan for now. In terms of levels, look, for now, the levels are not really working for me on this one, so maybe it's better to just, stick to the EMAs and maybe a trend line as well. So something like that. So if you're looking for some higher levels, and, if you're looking for some higher levels also, maybe you could wait for a break above that 50-day EMA. EURCAD, so beautiful move here. EURCAD. What I mean by beautiful is that we are currently resting on this upside line, which is drawn from the low of the 25th of August of last year. So, but I need to see a drop below this hurdle here, this 1.4633. If we do get that drop, at the same time, we could fall below the 100-day EMA and potentially more sellers could join in, and we could then target the 200-day EMA. That's what I'm going to draw here. So yeah, that's the game plan for now. Look, I get it. We are still above this upside line. There is a chance that we could see a move higher, but as long as we stay above this upside line and we stay above all the EMAs, then there is a good chance, yes, we could drift back up. But So something like this could work out, but at this point, look, we're just kind of violating this upside line, so that's why I don't want to rush anywhere. And we're currently below the 50-day EMA, so maybe it's due for a correction here, a larger correction. I don't know yet, but look, at this point, like I said, it's a little bit tricky. If we do push back above this 50-day EMA, I will probably stick to the upside. But if we somehow struggle with that, then maybe there is a chance for this move to move lower. But I need a confirmation break here below the 1.4633 territory somewhere, and below this 100-day EMA. And finally, EURUSD. So there we go. So look, I talked about this one. Excuse me. Before. So basically I was looking at some higher levels, and if we do break the downside line and we push and stay above the 1.0930 zone, we got a break of the downside line. We struggled with the 1.0930. It provided fantastic resistance, so I'm still gonna stick to that level in order to go higher. This downside line no longer needed. I think that we can now just purely focus on some of these levels. And look, I talked about this idea here as well, that if we do fall below the 200-day EMA and this 1.0833, then yes, I'll aim lower. I'll target the 1.0793 or this 1.0766. This 1.0766 territory is something that I'm keeping a very close eye on right now. If that gets cleared, this will confirm a forthcoming lower low, guys, and yes, we could go further south. So we could then, of course, maybe target this little territory here, or maybe this little territory here. So, yep. Let's keep it short and simple. So initially, if we do fall below the 1.0766, I'll aim for the 1.0733. If that gets cleared, then yes, I'll go. Basically, I'm going to go slowly, step by step. For the upside, yes, as I said, this 1.0930 zone is the more interesting level for me. But I understand that you're probably thinking, hey, what about, if we do climb back above this 1.0829? Well, yes and no. So yes, we could see a push higher, but then you need to wait for maybe a test of the EMAs, maybe the 50, the 100, and then we'll see how it plays out here. Because look, I mean, maybe it will provide good resistance. Captain BK8 sell stop at 1.0750. 1.0750. Okay, roughly. I mean. But I don't know why, I mean, not earlier a little bit. Like I said, if we do clear this one, because let's say, one of those moments of the, screwing up the trader, right? It's like we break here, for example, if you look at here, like if we break here, this territory, then this will confirm a forthcoming lower low. It could drift lower, trigger your 1.0750 here, test it, and then drift back to the upside, and the daily candle stays basically above this territory here, and with your sell stop right here. So I would say just let it settle first, see what is going to happen. But again, double bottom at 1.0650 on the weekly. You mean right here, but that's not really a double bottom. 1.06. I know what you're looking at. So this is the same story I'm looking at here. These are the levels here, but look, it's not really a double bottom. Double bottom would be like, you have a lower low here as well. So, but anyway, look, whatever you're comfortable with, I would say. So just but just be careful and risk only what you can afford to lose. Anyway, but look, from my side, I am kind of leaning towards this scenario. Let's say if we do fall below the 1.0766 and stay below it, then yes, I'll go further south. For the upside, I will start looking at some higher levels if we do climb back above the 1.0833. But I'll get more comfortable with the upside if we do push above this barrier right here. But at this point, yep, I am watching this highlighted zone right here, and then we'll take it from there. Yes. So okay, guys, I'll have to wrap it up here. My time is off. I'm out of my time right now, and just in 1 second, there we go. I'm out. But Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in and watching this one till the end. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much for killing an hour of your life with me. That really means a lot to me. A lot to me. So yes, I really appreciate that, guys. I really hope you found it useful. I don't know, maybe maybe it's useful, maybe it's not, but I'm trying to do my best here. So like I said, hopefully it's okay. But thank you very much. As always, as I finish my videos with that, look, only trade, let's say risk only what you can afford to lose. Don't overtrade. Have your stop losses in place, and and everything will be fine. So thank you very much, everyone, and I'll see you tomorrow, 6 o'clock GMT time. Bye-bye. Uh-oh, you just broke a digital image cursing us all to 7 years of market volatility. Undo by subscribing to our channel.